Welcome, everyone. This is Adam Ross with the great, amazing James Blake. What an exciting show we have for you today. I'm with Florida Tennis, and we're on the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network as well. James Blake, thank you so much for being here, my friend.
My pleasure. Happy to do it.
Appreciate the time. I know you don't want to hear an introduction of James Blake, but I kind of have to do it. You attended Harvard University. You turned pro in 1999, played on the ATP Tour until 2013. You earned nearly $8 million in prize money. Hopefully, you've declared that, or the IRS is going to be all over the show. I'm just sorry to say that.
Yeah.
Um, Now, you brought home the Davis Cup in 2007. Now, we have a visual to go with that.
Okay.
This is your Wheaties
Thought.
box from
Okay.
2007, signed by the Bryan brothers. Obviously, I'll be bothering you next, but we'll get to
Yeah.
that since you're on Zoom. I can't do that now. Um, you have wins over Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal. You've written books, including Ways of Grace,
Yeah.
which is a very inspirational book,
Yeah.
including Breaking Back, which it's a great title. They're both very inspirational and excellent books. So you have that. You are subject of a bobblehead. Look at that. James
That's a good
Blake
one. With Lindsay
and
for
Lindsay
the Hufflepuff.
Davenport. I mean,
Yeah.
talk about a great bobblehead.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I think the visuals are worth a thousand words, as if anybody didn't know how important you are. Bobbleheads, Wheaties boxes, books. And then, of course, you're always big into paying it forward. The James Blake Foundation, inspired by, unfortunately, your father's battle with gastric cancer, and he lost his life in 2004. Since 2008, your foundation has supported the efforts of the Thomas Blake Sr. Memorial Research Fund. I'm still not done. I'm almost there, James. Bear with me. I know you're waiting for this intro to end, but
Yeah.
you've served as a tournament director for the Miami Open since 2018, I want to say, and you helped the transition from Crandon Park in Key Biscayne um, to Hard Rock Stadium, home of the Dolphins, which is amazing. And then I think that first year you had to deal with the Super Bowl coming in, and I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
The tournament is unbelievable. It's set an attendance record really early on. I think one of your first years with like 380. I'm not sure people understand that about 400,000 people
Yeah.
attend this tournament run by you at IMG and your team. I know there's a lot of people there, but you're the
Yeah.
tournament director. So I guess I'll start by saying, first of all, congratulations
Thanks.
on what you do. You're very
Yeah.
welcome. And
Thank
now
you.
you're very welcome. And now I'm just going to turn it over to you. Let's get just to the basics of the
Okay.
Miami Open, okay? When does it run? I know I have the dates, but let me let you tell the people when they can come out here.
Well, it starts Sunday. Sunday is the qualifying. The women's qualifying will start. That is I'm gonna get there on the 16th, and then it goes through two Sundays. So I believe that's April 1st, and or is it March 31st?
So I've got
30th. 30th.
yeah, I was going to say I've got it running from March 16th to March 30th, and
30th.
then
Yeah.
Hard Rock Stadium,
Yep.
Miami Gardens. How to get tickets? I know I noted that their motto is we have a ticket for every kind of fan, a ticket for every fan. So
Yeah.
how do people get tickets, and what are some of the fun ticket packages you have?
Yeah, go to the website, get a ticket. So we've got first things first, the exciting part is Sunday, the first day, we're doing it for free. So come out, and that's for probably some of the diehards, but also anyone that wants to just see what we have to offer at the Miami Open, because all the food trucks and all the restaurants and bars and everything will be open. So you get to see the experience of being here, and you get to see unbelievable players. I mean, some people don't realize just how great the qualifying matches are, how exciting they are. These people are fighting for their jobs, fighting to get into the main draw, and their talent level is very close to the main draw. These players are players that are just missing out on that. So come out then, it's free. After that, the packages run from, I want to say the lowest ticket is around $15-20. Obviously up into the hundreds for, first class experiences and hospitality and suites. And we've got some of the nicest suites. I mean, that's one of the benefits of being in a football stadium is we've got suites that are luxury suites for the football events, and they're really luxurious. They're great, air conditioned, which is big in the Miami heat.
Sure.
And we even get to use Stephen Ross's suite. We get to use the nines, which is nine kind of separate suites in one huge area. So we have great hospitality. We've got great opportunities. The 72 Club is another sort of benefit of if you got to pay a higher price, but then you get a place to eat, a place to drink, a place to relax, watch it on the screens, go indoors when it gets hot out, whatever. So we have it all. And then just the grounds passes. I think grounds pass is an
Sure.
unbelievable deal because you get to walk around. I've always wanted, since I started in 2018, I wanted this to be an event where you didn't necessarily have to be a diehard fan. The diehard fans are going to love it too, but you don't have to be to still have a good time. You can go out,
Sure.
walk the
Sure.
grounds. You can get an acai bowl. You can get a cheeseburger. You can get a slice of pizza. You can get to see. A lot of times we'll have live music. We've got sort of festivals. We've got theme nights. We've got a Brazilian heritage night. We've got a Hispanic one. We've got an LGBT night. We've got a college night. We've got the opening night is sponsored by a bakery. We've got really great events. So come on out and enjoy it.
Well, you've hit on a lot of the areas I was going to touch on, but we're not done yet, James.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
We're just getting rolling. But let's talk about the significance of the event itself. It's sometimes called the fifth Grand Slam.
Yeah.
I know you're going to duke it out one day with Tommy Haas, the Indian Wells, about the Indian Wells tournament director about that.
Yeah.
But it's called the fifth Grand Slam. It's been around 40 years. Rogers, Federer's won it. Serena Williams, as we said, almost 400,000 fans. It's part of the Sunshine Double.
Yeah.
So it's played on hard courts. Can you talk? It's a prize money of $9 million,
Yeah.
not too shabby, around $9 million. So can you talk about the significance of this event?
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely heard the fifth Grand Slam and fifth major and all that kind of stuff as well, but we just want to do the best we can. And I know there's inevitably going to be comparisons to the other Master Series, especially with Indian Wells being right before us. There's always comparisons, but I'm a fan of just being doing things for the benefit of tennis. I want Indian Wells to succeed. I want them to do really well. I love Tommy. He's one of my favorite people to play against, to hang out with. He's a great guy. He's doing an excellent job there. Him and Ray Moore, and obviously Larry Ellison as the owner there. It's just a different event though. So I don't like to compare. I think
Sure,
I love hearing that we were considered the fifth major. I don't put that moniker on us, but I know a lot of people do, and a lot of people think of it ever since the days of it being in Key Biscayne and being there and it being such a big event with players like Agassi winning it, one of our great champions, Roddick winning it. It is very prestigious. So I think if you've got the Miami Open on your resume as a titleist, you're doing something pretty special because it's not one that comes without beating the best players in the world. So I don't like I said, I don't put the fifth major on us, but I do think I mean, I like to think we're the best of all the Master Series, but we just do what we can with what we've got. Indian Wells being so different, it's in more of an open area, more less of a city. I mean, we're right in the heart of Miami.
sure.
So there's different constraints, different nightlife, different attractions, different things going on. So I don't like to compare. I don't want to say. I mean, I don't want to say one's better than the other, but I want to say we're going to do the best we can with everything we have
Sure.
here in Miami. So that's
Yeah,
all
I'm
we can.
certainly not going to ask you to say what I will say is that the Miami Open's better than the Indian Wells. I'm not going to have you say that, but
I can't
certainly
do
I know I'm not going to go. I'm not. You're not going to go down that road. But
that.
sorry, James. But I know John Isner recently discussed on their podcast,
I
Nothing
heard that.
Major, how significant his
Yeah.
Miami Open win is to him.
Yeah.
And I know Sam Querrey's giving you a little bit of a tough time. When you got into this whole discussion about sending you an email about Crustables
Yes. Yep. He
and
always does give me a
that
hard
actually,
time.
wow. So you've
Um,
gone down. These guys love you, and you love these guys. I know that.
Yeah, they're great guys, and been great players. John, one of our tremendous champions. I know it holds a special place in his heart because me and him, I mean, we practice together. We're very, very good friends, and so he loved being here after he won it because we actually do something relatively special where we have suites. I mean, that's the benefit of being in a football stadium. The suites that are not able to see the court, which is actually where I am right now, and my office is one of the suites. But we give a suite to all the top eight players, top eight seeds on the men's and women's side, and also past champions. So every year when John would show up, even if he wasn't a top eight seed, the fact that he's got a suite, he would love to kind of rub it in and joke with me like, "Hey, where's my suite? Please let me just find my way to my own suite." And so we try to do something special for the champions. They've earned it. They should be celebrated, and so we do our best to make them feel like they're special, and they're honored not just that one year they win it, but for the rest of the time they're playing the Miami Open. They want to feel like we want them to feel like this is an extremely special part of their career and a part of their stop, because I mean it's a traveling circus that we have attached ourselves to. So to have one spot that feels a little more like home, a little more special. You hope you can make that experience for 2 weeks really memorable for them.
Well, certainly John did rub it into the fellow podcasters, Jack Sock, Sam Curry, and Stevie Johnson about winning the Miami Open and how he loves his suite. So you're doing that very right,
Yeah,
James. Anything he can hold over them, he's loving.
yeah, yeah.
Um, again, not to compare, but obviously Indian Wells has Larry Ellison, but we got Stephen Ross.
Yep.
Even though we have the same last name, our bank accounts are slightly different, but and no relation. But I'm not sure he gets enough credit. He's a visionary. He's like rebuilding Palm Beach County
Yeah.
single-handedly. Can
Yeah.
you talk about just how he, in my eyes, kind of saved this tournament and how significant he is?
Yeah, I think visionary is the right word for it, because he doesn't go out and look for the headlines. He's generally not sitting front row. He's usually up in one of the suites if he is here, but he's also busy. He is, like you said, rebuilding Palm Beach County, doing a ton of stuff around the communities. But he absolutely had the idea and the vision to be able to put a stadium here, to be able to put tennis here on the grounds where the Miami Dolphins played. And I think a lot of people, a lot of players included, were very skeptical to hear that we'd be able to do this. But he wanted to keep it in Miami, and that's the kind of passion he has. I mean, it helps obviously having the deep pockets, but to have the passion and the vision to say this is possible, this is something we can do. We can take a 60,000 seat arena and turn it into a 14,000 seat arena and make it feel special, make it feel like it's packed, like it's a huge event for the tennis. We have it was about the same size as Crandon Park in terms of the actual seats, but it just feels bigger, it feels special. And I think for him to do that and then to pull it off that first year when there was a lot of skepticism from the players, for us to be able to pull that off and then show that we can do this right after a Super Bowl, right before a Rolling Stones concert, and we can still make this the world-class event that it is, and have all the amenities taken care of, have the players not feel like they're kind of pinched and it's too small in the locker room, the training room isn't big enough, the food isn't good. We try to handle all of those things, and we keep getting better and better with all that. I think our food services is, as in my opinion, second to none. We probably got the most square footage, thanks to it being a football stadium, to be able to have two different cafes. One of them would definitely be considered one of the biggest on tour, and then to add a second place so that people don't feel crowded, players can really spread out, which I think is important. You're basically living the entire year with these other fellow coworkers or colleagues, and give yourself a little space and have room to spread out and have great food. So we do our best and we do what we can, but this wouldn't have been possible without Stephen Ross saying, hey, you know what? Instead of moving this tournament somewhere totally different, whether it's up to Orlando, whether it's out of the States, whether it's over to Asia, wherever there were talks of it being moved, he said, no, 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 we want to keep this in Miami, and I'm going to do everything I can. And here's an outside the box way to make sure we can make this happen. And it's been fruitful, and it's been really just getting better and better as we do it throughout the years here, as we fit in here at the Hard Rock Stadium.
Well, we're gonna talk a lot about the fan experience, of course, because that's what this is all about. But the players' experience, it's definitely different, and they definitely seem to like it. I see them enjoying that special area with their families where they're exercising. I've seen Serena going and talking to Ben Shelton. It's a wild area if you get a chance to take a look at it. So,
Yeah.
passing Dan Marino's statue, there just seems to be a great, unique vibe here. Do you agree?
Yeah, you're right. It is special, and I think part of that is us having the ability to have that space, and that's
Yeah.
one thing that we are so fortunate for. And that was part of the reason we weren't staying at Crandon Park. We just felt like it became too confining. The locker room wasn't big enough. The food area wasn't big enough. There wasn't that kind of open space areas to warm up. The gym was pretty small, so without huge improvements that we weren't able to do there, it seemed impossible to continue to have this level of event that we want to have without the space. And now to have that kind of space, I mean, it's a football field out there, so we're able to put some turf down, and we've got the broadcasters right there there, but we've also got the warm-up area that you're not going to be bothered. You're not going to be bothered by, by tons of fans running and screaming because they're kept out. You can really just enjoy yourself. We've got little golf mats to hit off of. We got cornhole. We've got soccer balls. Soccer is generally the most popular with all the players warming up, just playing a little soccer. And similar to the Indian Wells area where they've got that kind of field where a lot of players warm up as well. We have that, and I think it makes such a big difference for the players to have an area where they can feel comfortable and they can go run around and feel like they can get a warm up and not be bothered, not be stressed. And like you said, Serena came out there and she was able to interact with the players, and you see kind of a lot. To me, I think I see a lot of the good side of the tour where you got players interacting and having fun and just enjoying the fact that, hey, this is a job. We go out there and we want to beat each other up on the court, but off the court we can play a little soccer together. We can hit golf balls. We can hang out out here, and I really enjoy that aspect of it. And we're afforded that sort of luxury of having that much space to be able to do it, because most places, especially in a city, a big city like Miami, space is at a premium. So for us to be able to do that, we feel very, very lucky.
Well, you said the magic word, which is fun. It's a
Yeah,
fun tournament for players, but it's really fun for fans, and I think that's the key. You're going to get 15 past Grand Slam tournament champions, 32 players who've won a total of 125 ATP and WTA level 1000 titles. I'm going to run off a few names: Djokovic, Zverev, Medvedev, Swiatek, Coco Gauff, Sabalenka, Alcaraz, João Fonseca, Danielle Collins, last year's winner, Naomi Osaka, Petra Kvitova, Madison Keys, Taylor Fritz, Jess Pegula. But I'm going to have you in the wild cards. Of course, so it was Frederica Senior, if I have this correct,
yep,
Christopher Eubanks, Great American, Elliot Spizzari, and Wu Yiblang, I believe. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that correct. But I'm going to go American. I got to focus American. So we're going to
yep,
talk about American players to watch. I got to start with one of my favorite all-time players, Maddie Keys.
yeah,
Wins the 25 Australian Open. She awarded you in 2022. I remember this. The Medal of Kindness
yep.
from our organization, Kindness Wins. So tell me in your heart how much you're feeling for Madison Keys right now and how excited you are to have her.
She's one of my favorite people, and that I do remember that she got me all teary-eyed actually for that Medal of Kindness, which is really, really sweet of her, and it's incredible what she's doing to give back and to try to promote the positive side of sports. And it was one of those times when she won the Australian Open this year that you did not hear a person upset at all. You hear everyone just so positive and so happy for her. She's earned it. She's put in the hard work. She's even talked about the hard work she did with a psychologist and working with her husband, who's become a great coach. And that's a tricky dynamic, I'm sure, but they've managed to make it work. But just so happy for them as a team. Rashard Langford, her trainer, is a great guy. So I mean, I couldn't be happier for her and her team, and see her continuing to do well now, and playing well at Indian Wells, and then coming here. Like I'm just excited to see her, give her a big hug, and say congratulations. And I'm sure she had a zillion texts. Like she's the type of person that had the world texting her, and they were all genuine. It's not like one of those where like, oh, we just send out an obligatory text, but like people were genuinely happy for her. People were in tears, tears of joy for her. And, you felt for Sabalenka because she played great throughout the entire event, but she's already got a few slams. She's going to get more. Maddie's got this one, and I couldn't be happier for her. And I'm excited to see her and also to see the reaction she gets when she's here. She's always been a fan favorite. But to see her now as a Grand Slam champion, and for her to realize, like, now she's had time to process that her life has changed as a Grand Slam champion, and that she'll always be able to be announced as a Grand Slam champion. That sort of, as you did the welcome for me, and you're giving the rundown of your resume, like that's first front and center for her for the rest of her life. And that's something that's so special and can never be taken away from her. And to know the way she did it, I mean, the murderer's row that she went through to win that was truly impressive. So it was not given to her, it was earned. And yeah, really, really happy for her to be here, and now to have what do we have, four American women in the top 10, including, I think it'll be, when they get here, it'll be number 3, 4, and 5 in the world, with Goff, Pagula, and Keys, and Emma Navarro still in the top 10. So really, really excited to see how the fans react to these top American women.
Well, I'm going to do something that may make you proud. I'm going to plug another podcast because it's all inclusive. I mean, but if you haven't heard Maddie Keys and Bjorn Fratangelo talk uh, about that win, it's Andy Roddick, I want to
Yeah.
say, on Serve the
Yeah.
he convinced her to change rackets, and I think one of my favorite answers that he gave was, "What makes you most proud?" He go, I think he said when she hits a backhand drop shot.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I want her to do. And
Yeah.
now all I watch is to see when she hits that shot and see his reaction. But it's
Yeah.
great to listen to. But she hit the nail on the head in terms of Americans. You got Coco Gauff at three, Jess
Mhm.
Pegula at four. By the way, who loves this tournament because she's so used to walking into football stadiums because obviously her
Yeah.
dad owns the Buffalo Bills. Danielle Collins, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention her at
Yeah.
last year's winner. She's at 15 now. Maddie Keys, Emma Navarro. So that's the state of American women's tennis. But American men, not doing too shabby. Taylor
Yeah.
Fritz at four off his US Open final. Ben Shelton at 14. Tiafo at 17. You got Sebastian Korda, Riley Opelka, Brandon Nakashima, Alex Mickelson, Marcos Giron. So your take as an American, former ATP player, tournament director, tell me your take on the state of both male and female WTA ATP tennis right now, Americans.
American men's have been very much overshadowed by the women for the past 10, 15 years now. And I think they're trying to make a name for themselves, and they're
Sure.
coming on strong with Taylor making the finals of the U.S. Open last year, and I think they're all encouraging each other. I mean, they want to beat each other, but they also want to see someone break through. I think they're tired of hearing Andy Roddick's name. Hearing it from the podcast is great, but they're tired of hearing last American man to win a slam, last American man to win a slam. So I think they're all itching to get that Grand Slam, and maybe that breaks the dam, and then there's a flood of Tommy Paul and Francis and Ben Shelton and Taylor, all having looks at winning slams. Because I think they're all putting their names in the conversation. They're all winning against the top players, whether it be at smaller events or at slams. So it's just a matter of putting it together, doing it for 2 straight weeks, and they all feel like they're in that position now to do it. I think Taylor getting to the finals really gained the confidence for all of them. So I'm looking forward to that. And they also electrify the crowds here. Francis is an absolute a crowd delight. They love him here. Ben Shelton, rocking serves at 140, 150 miles an hour. People are going to love to see him, his youthful energy and exuberance. And Tommy Paul trains not too far from here, so he knows he's going to have a lot of local support as well. Taylor Fritz as well. Like, I mean, just a guy that's done it the right way, comes from a tennis family and appreciates all the intricacies of the game, works hard, does things the right way. So the state of American men's tennis is pretty darn good right now. I think for the casual fan, they'll only feel like it's a success when one of them does win a slam. But I
Yeah.
think for those that know, those that are appreciative of the hard work they put in and of the fact that we've got depth, like you said, you reeled off 8 names all inside the top 60. That's not easy to do from one country when you've got the popularity of the sport being so worldwide. So to have that many players that are all in contention, possibly getting seeded at slams, with the opportunity to get into second weeks of slams, with a select few, 2 or 3 of them, maybe having a look at being in the semis and finals, and maybe even getting one of those slams. And then on the women's side, it's we've talked about it for years how great they've been, and now with the emergence of Coco Gauff as well, I believe she just turned 21 today or yesterday. With the emergence of her as a true superstar and talent, it's great to see Jess Pegula. It's also great to see the contrast, the way things have been done, the career paths. Coco burst on the scene at 14 years old, absolute superstar right away, beating Venus Williams at Wimbledon. Jess Pegula had a slow rise. It was kind of a slow burn, and these
Right.
last 3 years, she's been an absolute stalwart in second weeks of Grand Slams, and then breaking through to make the finals last year at the U.S. Open. It shows. I think that gives a lot of inspiration. I mean, I think they're both so inspiring in different ways. Coco with her poise at such a young age, her athleticism, her grace under pressure, her ability to keep her head up at such a young age, growing up in front of the public spotlight, and for Jess to show like, hey, hard work pays off. Just not you don't have to be a superstar at 18 years old. You can keep working, keep getting better, keep improving every little part of your game, and have success later in your career. And Madison, similar thing. She did a little bit of both. She was kind of a phenom, but then I think she felt, and maybe some in the media felt like, oh, well, she's kind of underperforming. She could have done better. She's going for a little too much. It's a little too aggressive. Well, you know what? If you stick with that and you're true to yourself, you're true to your game, and listen to your husband, maybe I'll plug that, or maybe my wife will be listening. But you listen to your husband, gets you to change rackets, gets you to have a little bit of a different mentality, use that drop shot a little bit more, use some of your variety. You can be a Grand Slam champion with that kind of ability. So I mean, I just love seeing the different ways different paths they've gone to succeed. And then you throw in Emma Navarro, who went to college and went that route, and changed changed the dynamic a little bit for women's tennis. That seemed kind of unheard of not that long ago. Maybe Jen Brady, but other than that, and Danielle Collins, but hasn't been as many that have gone through. So for her to do
Sure.
that and be in the top 10 is really yeah, really it's great to see. And it seems like they all get along really well. And yeah, happy for them, and happy for hopefully another 10, 15 years of really tremendous success from this group.
Well, I'm grateful that you mentioned Tommy Paul, by the way, because I somehow left him off the list. He's only been on our cover twice, and a main interview of ours, and just a super guy, and
Yeah,
one of the hardest workers, one of the best stories
yeah,
on tour. So thank you so much. You mentioned the Miami vibe, so that's Miami's impact on the tournament. But let's turn it around a little. The value of this tournament to Miami,
yeah,
the impact it has on the community, the amount of not just dollars, but the amount of impact. And I know you're real big on paying it forward.
yeah.
You in the tournament, you have special days where the players. Can you talk a little bit about the impact of the tournament on the community and how important it is for you to pay it forward through the Miami Open?
Yeah, I'm so proud of the events we do, the Miami Unites events, and we get the players. And as I'm sure you know, players are very busy. Players have so much going on. They really want to focus on their recovery, focus on their bodies and their training. But to take a day out and really focus on helping others, whether it's planting gardens in areas that wouldn't normally have that, whether it's dealing with the Humane Society for cleaning up the beaches. We do so many things that we can that and we try to find something that matters to players. I know there are certain players that are huge animal lovers, so we get them to do the ones with the Humane Society. We get some that have a green thumb and want to do the gardening. And I've been a part of the last few years going to an inner city program there over at Moore Park. Madison did it last year. Francis Tiafoe has done it a couple times. Alicia Parks and Jess Pagula did it. So we get some players that can be inspirational for these young kids that grew up in programs that frankly I grew up in a program like that. So we try to show them what's possible and get them to have that close interaction to know sort of what it takes and what it's like to be to meet those superstars. So we do try to do what we can because you're right. We have I don't want to say a responsibility, but we have the opportunity to do these things because of where we are, because of the situation we're in, because of the money we make in the community that we want to try to help this community. We want to be a part of this community for as long as we can, and that's why we were so adamant about staying and not wanting to leave this community. We've become entrenched in it, and 40 years. It's a long time to be in one area, and we want to do as best we can to stay here for the next 40 years. I know I won't be here and doing it at that point, but someone else will pick up the reins and hopefully have the same passion for this Miami community.
I don't know, James. You look like you're about 25, so I think you will be doing it for another 40 years. But
Uh,
in the remaining time we have, let's talk about the fact that the Miami Open bills itself, or was real, important to it to be more than just tennis.
yeah.
You're going to have a great time at this place,
Yep.
whether you're a tennis fanatic or just a casual fan and want to try to get an autograph from Carlos Alcaraz. But
Yeah.
we begin with the special events and features,
Yeah.
a culinary playground for all, first of all. So
Yeah.
I'll just name a couple. You got Zuma, which is
Yeah.
the Japanese. Do you want to name a few more of the restaurants that you want people to check out?
Yeah, well, this year we added Miami Slice for pizza. We've had Cheeseburger Baby here for quite a while. Kiki's on the River, which is kind of a Miami, I don't know, iconic spot.
Sure.
That gets going. That's exciting. We got Piper Heidestock for a spot to just kind of have a few drinks, especially when it gets hot out. Yeah, I mean, and a new place. I'm gonna mess up the name. Fable out
That's
on the
it.
um,
Sure.
and that's going to be a little different. That had been kind of a food truck area. This year, we're going to make it, it's more of a sit down and enjoy a, a real sit down meal if you want to do that out there. So we're always tinkering. I mean, I always felt like my career was a lesson in trial and error. You see what works, see what doesn't work, and you got to be able to adjust. And we're going to see if that one works out there. And if that's one thing I love about this is that as you walk around, you get the true unvarnished opinions of people that because they'll see me out there and they say, "Hey, we want to do this better," or "Hey, you should do this." And then sometimes you get good advice, and so I want to go out there. I'm going to go out to the Grove and check that out and see what people are really thinking, if fans enjoy that, or if it makes sense to go a little more casual next year. But yeah, we're trying out different things, and I love having all those options out there. And you're right, it's something that I was actually passionate about when I first joined the staff in 2018. Is I wanted this to be a place where you can go, just bring your friends, go on a date, do whatever, like come out here. If you're a tennis fan and the other person isn't, or the others aren't, they're still going to find a way to have a good time. You can go have drinks at Kiki on the River and you're going to have a blast. We're usually going to have a DJ. We're going to have some live music. You're going to get to have a great time and watch on the big screens. If you're not right in the stadium, if you don't have a stadium ticket, you're going to have a great time. And that's what I've always wanted about this. And I'm starting to hear more and more of that people are having a good time, whether they're diehard tennis fans or not.
Occasionally, people do want an adult beverage. There is this is the
There you
adult
go.
beverage
Yeah, you
cup.
get
Looks
an
like
eighth.
that. Yeah, I got an ace. So we'll
There you
talk.
go.
This is an Ace Paloma.
There
Here's to
you
you.
go.
Not in there right now. I don't
Yeah.
know what happened to it, but yeah, they do have the Ace Paloma. There's adult beverages occasionally, which is
Yep.
similar to the U.S. Open. Has the
Yeah.
Honey Deuce.
Yep.
Now we're gonna do just to wrap it up a quick rundown of the specific dates and some of the stuff happening. On
Okay.
March 16th, you've already touched on, you have opening day presented by Bakerly, which is the first ever free fan event,
Yep.
family friendly entertainment. It sounds amazing. It's an opening day fashion show,
Yep.
exclusive merchandise, so that should be incredible. Your thoughts on that, James? It's gonna be a great day, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be a great day. Anything when you can get people out here having fun and get it for free. And then you got the fashion show. Lacoste has been a longtime sponsor of ours, so we're happy to partner with them. Bakerly's a new sponsor, but they're gonna do a great job, and we know it. So having an opening day where we can get people out for free is something that's really exciting, and hopefully the community appreciates it.
And then you already mentioned March 19th, Brazilian Heritage Day, March 20th. Hispanic Heritage Day, March 24th, Women's Empowerment Day. So if your wife is listening, she can show up for that.
Yeah.
I don't want to miss any of these. March 25th, out at the Open,
Yep.
celebrate LGBTQ plus pride. March 27th, College Night presented. Is there anything you're not doing presented by DoorDash? March 29th, Kids Day.
Yep.
You're also having Padel or
Yeah.
Paddle take the center stage on March 27th to March 30th.
Yeah.
One thing I found fascinating last year, but you're doing it again, but this is the Miami Open Wheelchair Invitational event
Yeah.
from March 26th to March 28th. Cadillac is going to be showing off some pretty exciting EVs, the Baptist Health Skill Zone. It's exhausting. The whole the Dunlop booth. It is where fashion comes to play. But you
Yeah.
also have, if that's not enough, how about a gondola? Who has a
Yeah.
gondola, James? What is that about? How
That's
do we
crazy.
ride the gondola? Tell me about the gondola.
The gondola is something that was there for the Super Bowl. So it was getting people from one end of the facility to another, the parking area. And we left it and we thought, you know what, that could be fun to ride up above and get that kind of the bird's eye view and go from kind of one end of the park to the other. And we didn't know how it would work at first. And the reaction similar, like I said, you trial and error and you walk around and people loved it. And kids love going up there, adults love going up there. It's such a nice break in the day to just take a few minute ride, whether or not you're adults, you want to have a couple of adult beverages sitting up there, and you get the different view on the park. And
Sure.
it's something that you wouldn't have thought of, and it's pretty unique. I don't know of any other event that has a gondola ride amidst the tennis. I was very worried. This is my going back to my old player days. Like, wait a minute, this is going to go up in the air. Someone's going to be tossing their serve. They're going to be looking at this and thinking we haven't had one complaint from players. And actually, that was one thing the first year we had it. That was one thing I said as trying to be a sort of a players tournament director. If we get one complaint, we're shutting it down. We can't have it affect the level of play. We can't have it affect someone's concentration or focus. Never had one complaint, and now it's going strong it's been 4 years, I think, 5 years, and we've had nothing but positive feedback from it.
And James, that's one of the great skills you have as a tournament director is knowing as a former player, you want this player experience to be good. And you I remember talking to you last year about this, and you talked a little bit about how you had no idea how difficult it was to do scheduling, and I'm sure
Yeah.
you're dealing with that. And you
Yeah.
just thought it was done. Like, why isn't the
Yep.
schedule done when you were a player? And you've been working on that. This one's flying in at this time, and
Yeah.
but also ensuring that you're dealing with the needs of the players and coming to you. I guess it's a little different than coming to somebody else, right?
Yeah, and I think that helps a little bit with the with kind of the bad news sometimes when you go into a locker room like, hey, look, this is what I couldn't get you at this time, or I wasn't able to get you this extra credit for this reason. And I can go in there and I can explain it and give them the reason and say, hey, look, I tried, but it doesn't work this way. Logistically, we can't do it or whatever. They know that you tried. As a player, you can have a frank conversation like, "Hey, how come I'm on this court and I should be on that court?" And you know what? Well, let me go through the reasons, and I'll be perfectly transparent with you on why. And then they can say, "Okay, I get it." I mean, even players like Roger. I mean, I had to have some of those conversations with Roger of like, "Hey, well, this is how we have to move it." And I could go into the locker room and talk to him, and he can say, "Okay," you know, and he can look me in the eye and say, "Okay, I get it. That's what has to happen for the tournament." You know, and people like Roger that get it, that get that the every tournament is you know, kind of bigger than one player. That makes a big difference for me to go in there and have that kind of credibility. As I'm getting older, I'm wondering if how many more years I'm able to have that credibility. Whereas I did have one WTA player I won't name, but I think a year or two ago that questioned if I understood what it took to be a player or something about players. And then I went in and told the WTA staff, and I said, "Oh, she's so young." She's like, "We're gonna tell her." I said, "No, no, please don't tell her. Please don't tell her that I was a player. Like she doesn't even remember or know that I was a player." So I think it's just funny that in a couple of years that there might be most of the tour forgetting that I actually did play and you know what it takes to be out there at this level. So but I do think the ones that do remember and do know respect that I'm doing my best for the players, and I want to make sure that they have the best experience here in Miami.
I think the key there is, James, you can always carry this with you at all times. and
Yeah,
and 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 this just break these out, and it ends that
yeah,
conversation. Well, listen, this tournament is widely regarded as one of the most glamorous on the ATP or WTA calendars. It's just that simple. And I think you mentioned it's because of Miami's unique personality. It's embedded in Miami. So your thoughts on just how significant that this tournament is, and on the Miami vibe it brings
yeah.
with it.
Yeah, we try to keep the Miami vibe, like you said. We try to keep the fact that there is, you know, Latin American influences here. We've got great Latin American fans. That's why we're doing the Brazilian Heritage Night, and you know, we try to keep it, you know, some of the local music. We get some of them. We got local cuisine. We want to be a part of the Miami community. Like I said, it's been 40 years. We want 40 more. We want to be part of this, and part of that is just showing that we're respectful of this. We're not just trying to bring kind of a cookie cutter boilerplate event and just drop it in Miami. We want to really be a part of Miami. So I love that, and I've gotten to appreciate it more and more as I've been the tournament director. When you're a player, sometimes you don't realize that as much. I'll be perfectly honest that like when you're a player, sometimes you're pretty isolated. You think of life in a bubble. You're on this, as I said, a traveling circus, and you're just going from event to event, and sometimes you don't put as much thought and as much effort into connecting with each community. And now that I've been here, established in this spot for 7 years, it makes me realize how important it is to the community. Whether or not it's as important to the players, it's important to the community. So we got to recognize that, and we got to be respectful and appreciate and give back to that community that's accepted us and really treated us so well here.
James, this has been an absolute treat. I can't thank you enough for your time on behalf of Florida Tennis, Bleacher Brothers Sports Network, tennis fans around the world. We will be viewing this by the millions, I'm sure. But I can't thank you enough. I want
Pleasure.
to wish you the best of luck on the 2025 Miami Open. I'll see you there. Thank you so
Yeah,
much. And
thanks a lot.
have a great tournament, great rest of the day. Take care.
Thank
Bye,
you very much.
James.